My wife poured a bottle of water on me and I think I'm done. This happened a few weeks ago. My wife and I were arguing about how to cut onions. I had stupidly thought that I could do it all, that I could chop up onions and add them to the chili as she asked. She came by and got pissed, telling me that I'd cut them too coarse, that they were supposed to be much smaller, and that the chili was ruined because I'd put them in the pot. I said, okay, let me just get them out. They're just on top and I was just trying to do what you asked. I can cut them smaller, and I start to pull them out with the spoon. She says, no, that's okay, don't do it, she'll just do it. She pushes me out of the way and takes the knife out of my hand. I let go. I start to complain about how I did what she asked, and if she wanted them put on the chili at the end, she should have just asked for that instead of me putting them into the chili while it was still on the stove. I desperately wish I could do something, anything right. I retreat to the other room as I'm pretty freaking sad. I'm 28 years old and I can't make canned chili apparently. I sit down on the bed trying to stay out of my wife's way so she can fix my mistakes. She brings in dinner and I'm ready to drop the problem. I eat and she eats half of her food, then brings it back up. I apologize multiple times. She doesn't seem satisfied. I tried to explain myself then that I feel like maybe she should have communicated a little better if she'd wanted the onions as a garnish instead of just in the chili. She tells me I'm not listening, that I'm cutting her off. I don't understand. I feel like we're taking turns. I desperately try to stay calm, keep my voice quiet. As calmly as possible, I say that I would appreciate it if she could be more specific about what she wants. Then she snaps and pours the entire glass bottle of water all over me. As she does, I can hear myself saying, please don't, as water runs down my face and back. It's making a huge mess. My first instinct is to clean the water up, wipe it up, get the blanket dry. I tried so hard to be good. I tried so hard to keep my calm and it got me nowhere. I get my keys and leave, still crying. My wife starts crying as I walk out, telling me I don't care about our relationship and that I'm just abandoning her. I just tell her as calmly as I can that I need to be alone for a little bit. I go out for an hour and sit by the library. I'm cold and wet. She calls me several times. I don't really want to answer. I haven't been okay since this. I know it seems stupid, but this event has pulled up a lot of bad things she did to me in the past when she was going through a lot of things in her life. She's apologized for some, others she doesn't even remember. Verbal, emotional, physical. I don't think I can stay married. It's like everything keeps boiling up. I don't know why this. Maybe I'm overreacting. I don't know. This incident just sounds like it's the straw that broke the camel's back. Oh, bro, what? I don't know why I thought this was a man, but it's a woman. There's an edit. She goes, I want to add that I'm also a woman too. My wife and I are both women, since many of the comments and responses are assuming I'm male. I, 22 male, broke up with my girlfriend, 21 female, over her body count. Just as the title says, a couple of months ago, me and my girlfriend, now ex of 5 months, were talking at a party and we were both a bit drunk and she started asking me about my past. She knew I was only in one relationship before her, but she was also really interested in my sexual history, so I jokingly agreed to answer anything as long as she did the same. Oh! You don't ask. This is why you don't ask these questions. This is why you don't ask these questions. Danger, danger, danger. Now I've only slept with 3 people in my life, including her, and I knew that she had only been in one serious relationship before me, so I expected her answer to be about the same. But she admitted that she had slept with 24 people before me. I thought she was joking, but she explained in greater detail, and it was clear she was 100% serious. At that point, I wasn't in the mood for any more partying, so I headed home for the night. 24 bodies at 21? That's wild. Wild. I couldn't sleep thinking about it, and I can't really explain why it bothers me so much, but I knew this was something I wasn't getting over, so when she woke up, I went to her apartment and broke up with her. She started breaking down and asking me to explain why. I really didn't want to tell her, but she kept asking for an explanation, and I thought it would be unfair not to tell her, so I told her, and she started breaking down even more and apologizing to me, which made me feel super guilty. I kept telling her she didn't have to apologize to me as she didn't do anything wrong, and she asked me why I was breaking up with her then, and I honestly didn't know what to answer. Eventually, she calmed down and I headed home, but she's been bombarding me with messages, still apologizing me and telling me that if she could turn back time, she would have never touched any of those guys and that she regrets it. I believe I'm justified in leaving her since I know that this isn't something I can get over and that I'll never see her the same, but I still feel super guilty about it all, especially since I can't really explain why it bothers me so much. I wish I didn't care about it at all so we could have just kept being happy together, but 25 people? I just don't know what to do. I feel really guilty for feeling this way, and even more because I know she's suffering for something she can't change now. I'm also checking in on her to make sure she's okay and trying to comfort her the best I can, but now I'm thinking that maybe it's cruel of me to do that because it'll make it harder for her on the long run, and that maybe it's better for her if I stay more distant. I am at a loss as to what to do or if it was fair for me to break up with her over this. I just wanted to rant about my situation somewhere since I don't really have anyone else to talk about this, and this is all I could think of. Any input is appreciated. Okay, he does have an edit. He goes, seems important to mention that she, me, and the people around us come from a religious background and that we date to marry. This isn't an assumption. We had the intentions of growing old together. A lot of people are asking why I didn't ask this before. This is because it is seen as rude to ask about things you've done that include other people.
Story time about how my cat got me grounded. And yes, I mean my literal pet cat got me grounded. So a little background information. I was 16 and I was a freshman in high school, and my parents were extremely strict. Now, of course, there was the usual no hanging out with boys, no hanging out with anybody on the weekdays. Well, my parents took it a step further. Actually, no, they took it like 10 miles further. I got my phone taken every night at 6 o'clock. Even on the weekends, and my friends were only allowed to come over for 8 hours exactly on the weekends. And they had to have a ride to and from my house. Well, usually my friend group and I were never invited to any kind of parties, but this one girl who had just moved to our school, she was throwing a huge party and she invited everybody, not just the popular kids. So obviously my friends begged me to go. They were like, please, like we can sneak over there. Your parents go to bed early anyways. Like for part 2. Part 2 about how my cat got me grounded, and yes, I am talking about my pet cat. So like I said, my best friends are begging me to come out of the house. They're like, listen, like do whatever you have to come to this party. This is the first and probably only party that we will ever be invited to in our entire lives. So at this point, I start planning to sneak out of my house. So my parents usually go to sleep at around 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and they usually wake up at 5:30 in the morning. But since this party was on a Friday, obviously my parents aren't going to wake up at that time. They'll usually wake up around like maybe 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. So this gave me a perfect amount of time to do what I needed to do, come back and not get caught. But just in case, I made sure to turn off any alarms on their phone. But I also had to make sure that I had a foolproof plan to get out of the house and get back in. Now, of course, I couldn't go through any of the doors in the house because of the stupid Ring doorbell. But there was one thing that did work in my favor. So my dad had been slowly but surely installing the window security alarms, but he hadn't made it to my room yet, so I was good to sneak out of my window. And thankfully, my window was on the first floor. Like for part 3. Part 3 about how my cat got me grounded, and yes, I am talking about my pet cat. So like I said, I had a foolproof plan to escape, okay? I was going to get out the window and I was going to just crawl back in and act like nothing ever happened. But there was an issue with this, okay? My dad was supposed to fix my window because I somehow broke it. I don't even know how. But anytime that I go to put my window up, it just literally falls. And not only does it fall, it locks when it falls. And obviously you can guess what will happen if it does fall. I won't be able to get back in the house and I will somehow have to get in the house without my parents knowing, which is literally impossible. So I will be grounded for the rest of my life. So I was going to put a book between the window and the windowsill, but I didn't want it falling and making a lot of noise. So I decided to put a pillow there. So I snuck out of my house at 11 o'clock and I had the best time of my life. Probably because that's the first and only time that I will ever be invited to any party. But fast forward, I go and I run to the side of the house to get into my window. And of course the pillow is missing. And I'm looking around to see where the pillow went in my room. And of course my cat is laying on it on the floor. So I tried messing with the window and then all of a sudden my parents walked in my room and saw me.
Am I the asshole for yelling at my girlfriend to stop freaking eating? My male 26, sister female 23 runs a bakery business and has been struggling lately to keep up with orders because she's been short-staffed. She does a lot of orders for wedding cakes that require custard or marmalade fillings. I offered to help her out by making these fillings at home and giving them to her. Unfortunately, the past 4 times I brought these fillings, my girlfriend female 24 has literally dipped her fingers into the jars. In her words, she just wanted to try some, but I tried to explain that this contaminates the entire batch. And I said she could use a spoon, but she said she likes using her fingers because it takes her back to her childhood. Am I the asshole for yelling at my girlfriend to stop freaking eating? She pouts and says that she likes to use her fingers because it takes her back to childhood. Well, today I was trying to finish some chocolate custard to send it over to my sister really fast because she was running late on a wedding cake order. I told my girlfriend beforehand to not eat the custard, and if she really wanted, please use the spoon. I get out of the shower and what do I see? She has her fingers in it again. I totally lost it because this is the 5th time and she blatantly disregarded what I said. I yelled at her, stop freaking eating the food I'm making because it's not for her and she's contaminating it. She started crying and got mad at me for fat shaming her even though I said nothing about weight. Am I the asshole for calling my wife the most beautiful woman in the world in front of her sister? I, male 29, am a doctor, and my wife, female 29, is in another high-paying field with long hours. Due to me recently having some odd hours, we really haven't seen much of each other for about a week. Anyways, her sister, female 33, has recently divorced from her husband. Her sister had an Indian-style arranged marriage and does not see the point of love marriages in general. She's taking this hard because in India, there's sadly a lot of stigma surrounding women who have divorced. So my sister has been staying with me and my wife, and we're totally okay with it. She's a really nice roommate and super respectful of the rules in the house. Am I the asshole for calling my wife the most beautiful woman in the world in front of her sister? Recently, we got lucky and finally got to spend some time together. We decided to watch a movie and we're laying on the couch cuddling and sweet talking. Her sister came in the room, sat down on the other couch, and watched the movie. We told each other how it was so painful to be without one another, and I even grabbed her face and said she was the most beautiful woman in the world. Her sister left the room, but later basically accused me of cuddling with my wife to mock the fact that she doesn't have a husband, and that I implied that she wasn't beautiful. I tried to calm her, but she got too close for my liking and said what makes her hotter than me. Then wanted a hug, but I said no.